This video I want to talk about the income screen. I'm not going to go through the majority of the screen itself because most of this is discussed in the expense videos. So we ask that you watch the expense videos first before you watch the videos on income, as we don't want to waste your time and going over everything 2 or 3 times. The auto date video you need to watch for this. You need to watch the video on filtering for this. Don't skip these areas. Don't skip watching those videos, because you'll discover that in those videos there is some very specific information. Whilst this might seem basic, these 2 areas, there's some great information in those videos which will allow you to see that there's more to these areas than what you first see when you're looking at the screen. The calendar, there's a video for that. What I really want to show you on this screen is only a couple of slight differences between the income and the expense screen. First thing is, when you click the columns icon to add additional columns, you can have up to 2 columns. On the expense you get 3. Income, you only get 2 extra columns. But when you turn the columns on the expense, they already come up with a name or a heading for the column. They don't come up with a column heading for the income, because we've left that to you, because there is no logical heading that needs to be put on there for income, because most of the information is already contained in the other columns. So we've left that for you to decide. If you want additional headings or additional columns for expenses, then obviously you want them for a specific reason, so you'll know what that is. Okay, the mouse over on the blue, which happens to occur down here, works the same as the expense. You can change that to a double click if you want, and all you need to do is click that. Now when I highlight this, it's not going to come up unless I double click on it, and then this is going to pop back up. Obviously the only difference with this screen is you can print a receipt from here, which you couldn't do with the expense. I'm not going to go for this area here. This by line and by page method was previously discussed in the expense, so I'm not going to go for that. Okay, the only other thing I want to discuss, really all of this screen is identical on the expense video, so I'm not going to discuss any further. All I really want to look at now is this, or this icon here. It's got a print button. You can print a receipt from this screen. If someone pays you income, you can print them a receipt if that's what you want, if that's what you do with your business. Okay, so obviously that's not on the income screen, on the expense screen. See here we have the tax calculator. The main difference is that on this particular screen, this will not work once there's an amount in this column. Okay, because it works on the principle of this: if you've given someone an invoice, contained in that invoice is already the amounts that are gross amounts and the amounts that were for sales tax, and it already has the totals. So when you enter your income, you already have the income amounts or the tax amounts, etc. included. So you don't need to calculate that. You go as per your invoice. However, there is instances where you might give someone an invoice and you might say, look, it's going to cost you $100 for that job. And they say, oh, does that include sales tax? Ah, yes, it does. And you go, well, I've just plucked that figure out of my head. I don't even know what amount of sales tax was in on that figure. So when you print off a receipt, so when you do an entry, let's just do a dummy entry. I'm just going to do an entry for today's date. Just make it the 17th of the 7th. Yeah, whatever. Test. Now, because these are already equal 0, I can use this calculator. I can go, I better select a method of payment, or method that they paid me. If I select this calculator now, it pops up and it says it's going to calculate the 10%. So if I say, look, he paid me $100, and then I click OK, it automatically calculates that for me. It calculates the component amount that was sales tax and the amount that was received. So if you pluck a figure out of your head, charge someone for a job, at least now you can work out how much sales tax should have been included in on that. Because normally you're supposed to add sales tax after you give someone the price. But I know a lot of contractors, they don't do that. They might quote a price and someone says, does that include sales tax? And they go, yes, it does. So then you've got to go ahead and figure out exactly how much sales tax was included. Look, that's all I want to discuss on the income video. I know I haven't discussed much at all. There isn't much more to discuss. Watch all the expense videos, and the rest of the screen is going to be self-explanatory after that.